Let's see what's next on my haunting hour list. I'm not Martin, like anybody wants to see that. What the?
Who are you?
I'm the lovable cat boy of this channel. I'm Cat Taz Trophy.
Oh, I've heard so little about you. You do like Goosebump reviews or something.
What? I'm sure Wolf has talked about me in high regards. I review Haunting Hour episodes and make top 10 lists from time to time. I was trapped on a spaceship with you wolves in an overly long story arc.
Yeah, but I usually space out. We're
Wolf Entertainment! What was that? Sounded like some cheap rock theme to make our cheaply animated show feel better than it actually is. Well, let's never address it. So why did you beam me up here?
Well, I got a note from Wolf saying you could aid me in a review.
Wolf needs my help? That's a first. So what are we tackling? A terrible Equestria Girl story? A bad anime?
Darkstalkers 1995.
No, anything but that. Can't we just review a bad Haunting Hour episode?
What's so bad about it? Besides the obvious points.
You don't know Darkstalkers, do you?
I played the games, but I didn't get into the lore and whatnot.
So, that's why Wolf called me here. So you can step aside and let the pro take over.
Take over? Let Lord Pyron, leader of the Darkstalkers, do this review. Go back to your corner.
Yes, I know a lot about the Darkstalkers and can point out all the inconsistencies, like the fact that this animated series was completely disconnected with the game lore entirely and was just an in-named only product that acted as a cheap cash-in cartoon to turn the hit fighting game series into a powerful franchise. The game series, while still an over-the-top fighting game with unbelievable scenarios, was remembered as a beautiful anime-esque work of art that provided dark storytelling, complex characters, depressing moments, nightmare fuel, and a ton of cool action. It was considered Capcom's darkest game series until Resident Evil broke new ground with its own franchise power. Though this was back in the day when Capcom actually cared about their games and wanted to put all their stuff in the spotlight, no matter how bizarre. Darkstalkers was at the height of its popularity, so naturally, Capcom wanted to spawn a franchise out of it. Unfortunately, they made a huge mistake marketing the game towards kids, most of whom never even knew what the games were even about.
Don't forget that Mortal Kombat was also around this time when it was growing into the controversial violent game that created the M rating for video games. The games even had to censor out the blood coming from the characters for Capcom's sake.
Exactly. As cool as Darkstalkers was, it started to fade away into obscurity when Mortal Kombat really pushed the boundaries for fighting games, farther than Darkstalkers ever did. So this cartoon was designed to make new audiences want to play the video games by releasing this to Western viewers to provide them the deep, complex stories that made Darkstalkers cool. But
it failed on epic proportions. The characters are not what they seem to be when compared to their video game counterparts. The animation is worse than that of the 80s, yet some of the voice actors continued and got better roles in today's time. The story, if I can even call it that, had almost zero continuity. While I do not know the Darkstalkers based off the games, I can still review it for the crappy show that it is seen as.
And I can judge how far the characters drifted away from their original forms and use this as an excuse to complain about stuff I hate on the internet.
Drifting from my character, but I, Lord Pyron, only want to capture planets for my collection of artifacts that are all from the planet I just arrived at. I'm practically the same as that cheap pixel art Pyron you love.
No, you're not. The original Pyron was a demon who wanted to kill all life in the entire universe. You just want to prove that you're better than your brother.
Ease up there, Tiger. We still have to see the first episode.
Watch the first episode? Are you crazy? Do you know what cheaply animated brain cell killing nonsensical hell awaits us?
It can't be too bad.
Supernatural things, magic and sorcery, they're back. From out of the gloom stalk your worst nightmares, ghouls, zombies, werewolves, vampires. You can't be sure what lurks out there in the darkness of night. We're the Darkstalkers! Chiron, intergalactic collector of planets, wants the Earth, and he's going to get it, even if he has to wake the undead. he summons Dimitri, Lord of the Vampires, to launch a reign of terror, to release a plague of monsters and bring humans to their knees. But other Night Warriors are on the prowl. Monstrous, awesome contenders with bizarre fighting powers. Immortal creatures locked in battle to decide the fate of the world. Stop. It's enough to make your blood run cold.
You can't be serious. That animation is so bad, it's hilarious. And Dimitri's fight with Phelan was so quick. I feel like Goku staring at him would scare him. In fact...
This was the first few minutes, everyone. The devil arriving to Earth in a spaceship to conquer the world while summoning a vampire to serve as his general for the forces of hell. Or home for eternal losers, given that this series was slaughtered with censorship. As the go-to Darkstalkers fan, I already know how inaccurate this is. In the game, Dimitri served no one. He was his own boss. He wanted to conquer the world himself and fought against Phelan in an evil versus evil battle since he's so arrogant that he thought the Earth was his domain to rule alone. Even when he lost matches, Dimitri would never cower before his opponents because he'd see that as demeaning to his power over everyone. But in the child-friendly show, Dimitri is now an incompetent wuss who pisses himself after Phelan curb stomps him. An all-powerful vampire warrior, Dimitri, ruler of the night, master of darkness, is now demoted to Phelan's loyal fanboy. This is still the first spit in the face towards an awesome video game character.
That's right, because Phelan begins to recruit even more Darkstalkers to form his army, and by more Darkstalkers, I mean only the characters from the video game.
Yeah, they don't really mention this a lot in this show, but the Darkstalkers are an entire race that live among the humans, sort of like the Haunting Hour supernatural characters, but these ones have a scale of morality. In this cartoon, the Darkstalkers seem to be an endangered species, since Phelan can't find as many inhabiting this world.
But now it's time we meet the only character people remember from the video game. That's right, Phelan summons Morgan Ainsland, the succubus, to join his hellish army, but let's just say that this version of the character is just as different from her original incarnation, like every other character you'll see in the show.
One thing they do seem to get right from the games, and trust me, that's saying a lot, is that Morgan and Dimitri don't like each other, because the moment they first speak, they begin acting like 6-year-olds and throw temper tantrums, forcing Phelan to act like their parent by breaking them up. Wow, so two of the main characters from the game series are not only working as the villain's personal attack dogs, but they also turn their intense rivalry / sexual tension into the equivalent of two kids having a pissing contest to impress the devil.
You two better settle down or I will turn this ship around.
Please do, and save us from this animated atrocity.
But if I do that, my brother will make fun of me again. Let us stay and conquer this world so my brother can't one-up me again.
As you wish.
Morgan does seem to do a lot more in the show than both Phelan and Dimitri do, but she seems nothing like the video game character everyone talks about either. The gaming community praises Morgan as this sexy, strong, independent woman who does whatever she wants without taking orders from no one. She's the only character that exploded in popularity in the gaming community because of her fun-loving, playful character, but here she's just some generic, smug, take-over-the-world villain that I've seen before in too many cartoons to count. Not to mention that she looks like the ugliest character in the show. Both Felicia and Cienko actually look close to attractive, but Morgan, who has made many top 10 hottest video game character lists, looks ugly as sin. It's pretty distracting when one of your major animated characters is stuck with a weird derp face every time they close up on her. At least Harry wins the derp face contest in comparison.
The next recruit for the Home of Eternal Losers is the old pharaoh Anacharis. Where is he hiding? Why, in a pyramid that was underneath the downtown city of Cairo, of course. I can barely make out a word he says as well, other than pudding. Seriously, I watched this whole series, and I never understood a word that Anacharis says. I can make out some lines, especially the stupid ones, but I can never make out everything he slurs out of his mouth.
It was some dark times for Egypt once Atem died.
Again, not like his character from the game at all. Anakaris was revived by Pyron, but he only wanted to rule over his kingdom. After seeing that his kingdom would be attacked twice, he traveled back in time to defend it while in the form of a mummy. To protect it, he decided to move his kingdom to another dimension. Anakaris is not some idiot who babbles like a moron and can't count to 4. He's a prideful person who cares for his people. He was also stoic, serious, and silent, meaning that he had honor and wasn't an annoying man-child.
As Dimitri tries to recruit more Darkstalkers, we see an inconsistency in the making, as well as how weak our villains are. In some random forest, we see the tractor beam try to catch Jon Tail Bane. How does this martial arts master of a werewolf escape? By running away from it and hiding in a cave. Wait, didn't the tractor beam reach Dimitri, Morgan, and Anakaris when they were several feet underground, but now it can't go through a thin layer of rock above the surface?
Yeah, Pyron's technology isn't exactly top-notch. I guess that's why his computer is always arguing with him. Oh, by the way, Pyron now has a talking computer that runs his ship for him, and acts sarcastic. The perfect sidekick for the devil, right? I guess he needs to get with the times.
I'm an intergalactic demon. My technology is not subpar. I just upgraded to Windows 95, in fact. Nobody has better technology than I.
Doesn't excuse that you can't move a tractor beam through the thinnest layer of rock. The cat has you there.
Silence or I'll recycle you into laser discs.
Just like the system this show was made for.
So after Tailbane does the heroic tactic of running away from a giant laser, we see Shaman. He's a samurai in Japan that was woken up because the bell went crazy. Well, that's what I first thought anyways. Apparently it might be Dimitri who became invisible to cause the bell to fall and awaken Shaman, and that's that. He gets no character until about the final 3 episodes. What was your plan, Pyron? Just have him stand around and do nothing? I just wanted a samurai for my collection.
Of course you did. So now all that's left is the zombie guitarist himself, Lord Raptor, who's become an Australian stereotype. Oh, and he also wants to be in the acting business. Okay, when did they screw up Felicia and Lord Raptor's motives? Yes, Lord Raptor wants his name to be known to the public, but he can accomplish that through his music career. You know, like in his actual lore. They also downgrade Lord Raptor's desire to rule the world by stealing Pyron's powers for himself, by turning him into a comic relief dumb muscle who makes song references and does wacky antics that piss off the serious villains. He doesn't want ultimate power anymore. Raptor just wants to act in movies. The acting business is pretty easy, actually. All I need to do is scream at the top of my lungs, and I get paid, just like YouTube critics. You can do that through a music career, you undead twat.
Ease up, you two. We still have to get to our heroes, protagonists, our main characters. Tailbane already ran away from the plot, so next we have Riku.
Rikuo.
Well, the show calls him Riku, so I'll just go with that. Anyways, he's pretty handsome for a fish person. Sadly, that's a stupid catchphrase surrounding his character, much to the annoyance of the viewers. Instead of joining the team of evil, he swims away. So, 2 badass characters escape this tractor beam that can pretty much go through any solid object just by running away.
After those 2 run, we meet up with Sasquatch and his tribe of people. In this show, he's known as Bigfoot, despite being an abominable snowman. To avoid being captured by the beam, the tribe throws snowballs at it. Okay, how does throwing snow at a tractor beam defeat it? These villains are so weak that snow is able to stop them. And since snow melts into water, the villains are all wet and completely useless now.
It's a good thing I'm made of energy, because then that snow would have killed me.
Yes, lucky us.
After that stupid and confusing snow incident, we pan over to a dinky alley, most likely in New York. What whimsical creature will we see out here? A cat person with blue hair and almost no clothing getting rejected from being in the play Cat because her costume was, and I quote, out of date. Sadly, they cover up her boobalicious design with the trench coat because it just so happens to be raining. I'm pretty sure that they just couldn't get away with 95% nudity. This cat is...
Felicia! You gotta let me talk about her. She's my favorite video game character of all time. My first waifu. I love her so much.
Fine. Though this isn't the Felicia you know and love. It's another in-name only character with her name and half her appearance slapped together as a main character.
I know, don't remind me. Anyways, after getting rejected from being in the play Cats, ha irony, she decides to head home. That's when the giant tractor beam hunts her down, forcing her to run through traffic. I'm so glad there's nobody driving or walking outside at night in New York City, one of the biggest cities in the United States. What the hell is that?
Maybe she was praising Jesus before getting captured?
Well, whatever that was must have worked, since Felicia escapes the beam by transforming herself into a cat. Immediately after that, we meet our not-so-main character, Harry Grimoire. One of his great ancestors, Elijah Grimoire, was a wizard, which makes Harry a wizard too. Dimitri tries to recruit Harry because he might know magic, but this is the first time he's heard of his powers. Also, for a kid who just learned of the Darkstalkers existing and that he's a sorcerer, he's taking things pretty well. I mean, even Harry Potter was shocked when he learned he could use magic. Here he's like, I can use magic and weird supernatural creatures have lived on Earth before us this whole time? Okay, when's dinner?
It's not like he'll use his powers, since he hardly knows how to use them. Most of the time it's accidental, or on one occasion, he's evil. But sadly, Harry is supposed to be our main character, because what would Darkstalkers be without a child hero?
A unique, complex story about a race of people who are at war with one another while trying to hide from humanity, and with many morally gray characters that can shift between good and evil at any moment, now has a story about wizardry and a kid hero destined to save the world from the space devil.
Oh, come now. We have characters like that. Let me get back to you on that.
To save us from this show, Felicia tries to kill Harry by jumping out a window to escape the tractor beam going through his house, which was trying to capture them. Sadly, it fails, and now Felicia is stuck babysitting this annoying kid who puts himself into harm's way in every episode. Yay, Felicia, the fun-loving, adventurous Darkstalker with a heart of gold, is now demoted to idiot kid's babysitter, where she gets abused saving him every day. Oh, and Harry has no say in joining Felicia on their adventure to wherever the hell they're going either. They just turn Felicia into a criminal.
So, that's technically breaking and entering, as well as child abduction. Oh, and he could easily pin stealing his dad's credit card on Felicia too, so that could lead to theft as well. Plus, later in the series, she wrecks her friend Lex's cars, so that both child endangerment and, if Lex were smart, Grand Theft Auto. Man, Felicia could easily be put away for so many things if these people hated Darkstalkers.
Too bad in this show, nobody is aware of the Darkstalkers even existing. Unfortunately, that doesn't stop the piss-poor continuity from showing all the times when Felicia is disguised and exposed in public within the same stories.
Great continuity!
There was also another subplot about Viktor that ended up going absolutely nowhere when we see Dimitri attempting to abduct Viktor from a props closet at Hollywood. I really wish I was making this up, but the Frankenstein monster escapes the beam by throwing a suit of armor at it, which the Vampire King stupidly falls for, and he runs away. Viktor goes into hiding at a castle in Germany, controlled by his gay Hitler butler, Klaus.
You'd think that this story would lead to something important, but wrong. Viktor only gets one more episode in the series, and it focuses more on his gay butler Klaus than on the morally complex Viktor.
So now, Felicia and Harry set off on adventures towards an unknown goal, since the cat girl discovers that the child has a magical gift, and she plans to train him to fight the villainous Darkstalkers in order to save the world. Even though Felicia has no clue on how to use wizard magic, so she's most likely going to be a bad teacher.
And that was the end of the first episode towards this nightmare, everyone. Half an hour to establish everyone in the Darkstalkers universe. And it was still wrong, hard to follow, and unoriginal. This wasn't the beginning to a grand universe. This was a Saturday morning cartoon full of cliches and bad comedy. Sadly, we're not done yet, since we have to dissect every terrible character that spawned from this atrocity. Let's start with the OC of this cartoon that they wanted to push, Harry Grimoire.
Harry Grimoire is a something-year-old teenage boy who lives outside of New York City. I say outside New York City because his property has probably about a couple acres of land since he has a pretty big porch area but a tiny-ass house. It doesn't help that his stupid big mansion keeps changing its area every episode. He's also related to Merlin, as explained later, but he barely knows how to use his powers. Most of the time he uses it accidentally, like in the next episode. For some reason, Morgan also wants to train him, never really explained. Donovan also offers his services, but they're refused since, in this version, he wants to eradicate the Darkstalkers, including the heroic ones.
Harry's so annoying. He usually gets Felicia in trouble by putting himself into harm's way. In the later Darkstalkers game, a child character named BB Hood is added and she carries around a dog named Harry. I can only hope that one of his spells backfired on him and BB Hood took him in as her dog. He may still be alive, but at least he can't do anything if that were true. It should be noted that Harry is also despised by Darkstalkers fans, that they always remind people new to the franchise that Harry is a non-canon character. Harry is a whiny little wuss who does nothing useful for his allies until the final episode of the series. He was meant to be a character that the kids could relate to since he was discovering the game universe too, but nobody's going to relate with a rich white boy who can buy whatever he wants and travel alongside his hot cat girl across the world to fight Satan and his minions. Harry is one of the worst examples of a kid hero ever.
Next, we should look at probably the most badass character of this game, Jon Tail Bane. The show is alright when it comes to capturing him. His first scene is him running away from a tractor beam. No name drop, no lines, and not even little character development. He just gets a cameo in the pilot. In a later episode with Viktor and Gay Hitler, or as I call him, Gaydolf, he gets captured because food was left out and he fell for it.
Help! The nachos tricked me!
Tail Bane then later steals a plate of food from a farmer before Felicia asks for his help to track Harry because, shock of all shocks, the kid gets in trouble for the 8th time in a row. How does he track down Harry and Morgan? Because his eyes can perceive ley lines or the flow of magic, not because he has better hearing, sight, or smell. Oh, and Tail Bane can also take hits and walk them off like it's nothing.
Harry, meet Felicia.
What an inconvenience. As for his backstory, I have no idea. There was a bakery store and then it blows up and that's it. Think you can shed some light on Tail Bane, kitty cat?
I'll do more than that. I'll go into another angry rant. In the video game, Jon was a tragic hero who struggled to find his identity. He wondered if he was human or just a monster. His mother was a human that lived in Britain before she was killed by Jeddah, a villain who held a grudge against Jon's heroic werewolf father. Jon's father left his son to avenge his dead wife and find himself, causing Jon to be orphaned at a young age. When Jon grew into his werewolf form, he was ostracized by humanity since they all saw him as a freak of nature. Now alone, Jon is trying to learn how to control his powers and help those who are in need like himself. So basically, absolutely nothing like here in the cartoon. There was no bakery explosion in his backstory at all, unless this was supposed to be Jeddah's attack, but we don't even know who this random kid is. Is this supposed to be Little Jon? Was this kid he almost harmed? Or what? It might be Jon, but what makes this flashback make even less sense is that this random woman comes by, presumably Jon's human mother, to save her son. So this isn't the loss of Jon's human mother at all. Also, this flashback never comes up again because Jon goes back to acting like a moronic comic relief right after this episode, so we know even less about Jon than we did before on the show.
Jon's only major episode is mainly giving him some focus for once, but apparently not too much focus because it was designed so badly and just continued following the formula of Harry getting captured by the villain, forcing Felicia and whatever hero this week to save the brat. Jon can apparently get shot a lot and shake off laser beams, except in the finale, of course, because they raised the stakes by showing Jon getting KO'd to remind us that these new villains were a serious threat. Oh, and he apparently is another guy shipped with Felicia because they kiss slash use CPR as a cover for romantic interest. Yeah, Felicia really gets around in this series. But nonetheless, Jon is a failed attempt at recapturing that tragic hero from the video game. Speaking of failure, let's look at your favorite feline, Felicia. In the show, she's not really an actress. In the pilot, she's exiting a theater because she wasn't chosen for the play Cats, as mentioned previously. Later in the series, she does a commercial for cat food for some reason. It's never explained why. Do cat food commercials need a cat-human hybrid to show that it's good for both species? Not to mention that the first episode actually implied that her acting career was going nowhere and she gave it up in order to mentor Harry in magic. Other than that, she is forced to keep Harry safe since he throws himself into danger to prove he isn't a loser. But in doing so, proves he's a loser since he doesn't help them at all. She also disguised herself in the ugliest manner possible, but for only like 2 episodes, and she was also mistaken for Anacars's wife, so he brainwashes her into thinking she's his wife, and they have sex or something. It was a jarring scene. I'm serious, the scene where Anacars's and Felicia make out is so disgusting that even the other characters in the show are horrified by it.
Don't remind me of that again. At least that gross scene was topped off by an even worse scene of Lord Raptor dressed as a woman. Again, her moments in the show are not at all like my Felicia, the one fans love. In the game, Felicia was an overly optimistic, ditzy cat girl who wanted to become a famous singer and actress. This is only hinted at on the show, since they pushed back her only goal to give more focus on Harry becoming a wizard. Felicia was a nomad who explored the human world trying to achieve her big break, but ended up being hated on because she was a Darkstalker. She also helped others who were in need and fought for what was right because she believed that one day humans and Darkstalkers would learn to live together in harmony. She even befriended many of the heroic Darkstalkers and inspired hope in the depressed characters like Jon and Donovan. Felicia held on to hope even when she was faced with dark times, like the rise of more villainous Darkstalkers. She was viewed as weak for wanting peace and love, but she showed them that she was able to fight back and remain true to her faith. It was a beautiful story that made Felicia more than just a hot video game girl. She actually had a lovable personality and even defeated powerful godlike monsters on her own. They also left out that Felicia is a devout Roman Catholic, but I think they didn't want to drag religion into the show, something I'm glad they didn't go through with. In fact, some of the Darkstalkers are very religious characters, with their personal faith coming into question at times when the world got intense. Felicia held on to her faith, which made her seem stronger than other characters like Jeddah, who gave up on humanity after he lost his hope. But in the show, absolutely none of Felicia's noteworthy characteristics even come up. Heck, we don't even know her backstory where she was taught her personal beliefs by a nun named Rose, a human woman who Felicia idolized. The show's version of our spunky cat girl feels more like a sassy, cool girl who's always in the right and does something badass to remind us that she's awesome, despite having zero character whatsoever. We never learn anything at all about Felicia in the series. Just to remind us all that they even got this character wrong, we see that Felicia is a cat that can shapeshift into a cat girl, when in the game, it's the other way around. She's naturally a cat girl who can disguise herself as a regular cat. That was how she blended in with human society.
That actually makes more sense than in the show, since in the show, every time she turns into a cat girl, she ends up disguising herself in some stupid outfit, which raises the question on why she just doesn't stay hidden as a cat whenever they travel the world. To make it all more confusing, Felicia sometimes goes out in public in her full catgirl form despite her desire to stay under the radar. For somebody who's trying to hide her appearance from the public, she sure doesn't care to be seen out in public in her naked catgirl form. Hell, look at this scene of Felicia in her ugly trench coat, then her full-on catgirl form at the airport. Totally not confusing.
I do love that they want to make Felicia the main hero in Darkstalkers, but the problem is that this isn't the same Felicia we know. Even if you don't judge this girl based off of all the lore surrounding her, she's still uninteresting. We know absolutely nothing about Felicia in this show, outside of all the cat jokes and her concern for the real hero, Harry. Felicia never grows as a character, nor does she have anything going on for her. The closest thing that comes as her trait is that she gets possible romance options from half of the guys in the show. I know, Felicia is hot, but they seriously give her a lot of shipping in the show, acting like we care who she ends up with.
Isn't Morgan meant to be the irresistible succubus who sleeps around?
She is, but in this show, she's too ugly to get any action, so it's up to Felicia to hook up with the guys. We have the nauseating scene where she makes out with the centuries-old mummy Anacharis. She compliments Ryu for being attractive for a fish man. She CPR kisses Jon Tail Bane and later asks to wrestle him. She gets groped by Lord Raptor, and she apparently has a crush on Donovan. That's all the interesting development she has, folks. Felicia only has all the fanfic fuel between the other Darkstalkers. Other than that, Felicia doesn't have much to do on the show other than be the real hero by saving Harry. I may love Felicia, but even I can say that here, she doesn't have the same magic that made her character so possum.
Let's talk about a different character, like one who managed to get even less focused than Felicia or Harry, like the heroic tribe of abominable snowmen, the Squatch Squad. These are apparently a group of snowmen led by their proud chief warrior, the Sasquatch, or as the show calls him, Bigfoot. Yeah, for no reason, the show wants to call him Bigfoot despite him clearly being an abominable snowman.
In the game, the Sasquatch was from a tribe of snowmen who saw him as their greatest warrior. He was a noble fighter who liked to battle, but was ultimately a force of good since he was kind to others and worked with heroic Darkstalkers to stop other villains, if only to protect his tribe. True, he did have a joke ending where he kind of went insane and took over the world, but this was a non-canon ending. His ending where he beats Jeddah is much funnier though. In short, the Sasquatch was more of a joke character who brought light-hearted moments to a very dark game.
In the show, he's still a tribe leader, but is somehow even more ridiculous despite all the attempts to make him a serious character. He sounds like the Cookie Monster for some reason, and his jokes are by far the worst in the series. Sasquatch sort of just lives in the snow village and never gets involved unless the plot demands it. Even his own episode didn't give him any character because they instead gave it all to his son, Hairball.
Hairball managed to be the worst character in the entire series. Yes, even worse than Harry was. For starters, Hairball was every annoying, loud, motor-mouthed child that everyone wanted to kill. Seriously, it actually became a joke that the other Darkstalkers wanted to kill this kid since they even acknowledged that he was annoying.
It's a pretty bad sign when a show intentionally creates a character who annoys the other characters. Sadly, nothing bad ever happens to this brat, and he gets a very weird ending where his dad, Bigfoot, gives a lecture that sounds like a death threat. Bottom line, Sasquatch got no character either and was a source for bad jokes. It doesn't help that not even his own tribe could be taken seriously with their vomit snow magic.
Though we did have a hero who was proactive in the plot, Rikuo.
The show kept mispronouncing his name as Riku, a character from the Kingdom Hearts franchise. Sadly, Rikuo is nothing like Riku. From what we do get of Rikuo, he's the leader of the fish people who are all dead. In his first episode, Morgan tricks him by disguising herself as a fish woman named Delphi to get him to give up a gem that protected his kingdom. Funny enough, he was willing to give this gem up to her because she's a female. I guess he didn't want to die of a lonely heart. Somehow he also changed the secret word to activate the gem's power from Egyptian to dolphin, and then randomly allies himself with Felicia and Harry. Later in the series, he looks for other Darkstalkers only to come across Sienko and later Donovan. In his episode with Sienko, he tries to kill Morgan because he didn't make a deal to let her live, but he fails. He also has a stupid catchphrase surrounding his weird design, with everyone noting he's handsome or attractive for a fish person. Kinda sounds racist, like fish people aren't normally attractive or something.
In the games, he is even more proactive as he actually searches for other mermen. His show counterpart sits around and mopes about like some Disney princess. Both Pyron and Jeddah did something to anger Rikuo and cause him to search for them and other fish people. He has the ability to transform into different kinds of fish or frogs and call out to fish, like Aquaman. Since he is a fish person, his ability to stay on land is limited, one of the things the show actually uses. But Rikuo's battles are usually near water, so he isn't completely weak, even if it doesn't make any sense that a fountain is on top of a random mountain. If the game version of Rikuo was the real one, found this version, I'm sure he would let him die rather than have him join his kingdom.
Our last supposed hero is the Frankenstein himself, Viktor. In the first episode, he was a prop and wanted to be alone, so he tries to hide from society by living out in Bavaria with his butler, Gadolf. On first inspection, I actually thought he would be a deeper character with him trying to stay out of the conflict, but they just wrote him out pretty much. Later, he invites all the good Darkstalkers to his castle to party despite never meeting them at all.
Great continuity!
In that same episode, he gets taken out and more development is given to Gadolf. The only funny moment I saw from him was when he electrocutes Anakarst and puts him in a stupid animation loop.
Viktor was a creation of a scientist who didn't have much time in life, and he misinterpreted his scientist's silence as disapproval, and chose to fight Darkstalkers to prove his strength and gain his creator's approval. After coming back, he was welcomed by the professor's other creation, Emily, whom he lived with for many years. Over time, Emily died, and Viktor went to fight Jeddah to get her soul back, but he ended up dying in a heroic sacrifice. Nothing at all like this half-assed character he is in the cartoon. There is no sad backstory for him. He gets to live the high life with a butler while everyone else suffers. Yeah, screw making Viktor a tragic character, just make him an extra in the background.
Easy there, we're only halfway into this review.
There's more?
Much more. You see, I actually wrote that note to FemWolf to see if you would be strong enough to watch this cartoon. So far you have impressed me, but it is not over yet.
Sir, you're just making things up now.
Shh, he doesn't need to know that. Getting back on track, we still need to cover the other human characters, the non-threatening villains, and the final episode. But we're gonna cut this in half, so we'll see you all in round 2.
No, I'm not coming back. I'm gone.
Snowman, keep him trapped! Now, you must stay.